really hard to get off. There we go. Okay, now that should be nice and hot. So we're going to take this here. Just make sure you don't get the paper on the bottom. You don't want that ending up in the meal. I'm going to quickly wash my hands because raw meat is a good carrier of bacteria. You don't want to cross-contaminate anything. Okay, just going to give this a mix here. Let me turn it down just a little bit. As you can see, it's going to cook very quickly, which is good. I'm going to season it just a little bit. Some of this garlic salt right here. You know, not too much. You can always add salt later, but you can't take it away. So make sure you don't go overboard with it. Now we're going to let this brown for a few minutes, and then after that we're going to throw in the vegetables, let the onions caramelize a little bit, get some good flavors going on.
I'm going to add some garlic salt to my potatoes, and as you can see they are mashing up quite good. I have a nice yellow look to it because I actually added in one sweet potato. That's going to keep us nice and healthy. It's going to give us a sweet flavor, and it's going to give us a little more pop. Make your plate nice and colorful. And then once we add the red paprika, that's going to really give us a good color. So, speaking of healthy,
well, traditionally, shepherd's pie is meat, beef or lamb, and we're using ground turkey because it's got a lot less fat in it than beef does. So, and you know what? It tastes really good too. So that's why we're using the turkey over here. Now, if you notice, it doesn't have a lot of fat in it, which is why I added the oil to it at the beginning. Most of this coming out is just water, whereas ground beef, you're going to see it would produce a lot of fat in the skillet, and you're going to probably have to drain that, whereas with this turkey, we're not going to have to do that.
It's also good to get ground turkey breast. This turkey here is just regular ground turkey, so that means it probably has some skin on it, so it's not as healthy as can be. But you know, it's a whole step above ground beef or ground lamb.
That it is.
What are you doing, Mikkel?
Well, right now I'm peeling the carrots so that I can chop them. Pretty fun, pretty fun. Well, I would say you want to peel this direction. You don't want to peel towards yourself. You might get hurt. So you don't want anyone getting hurt in the kitchen. Yeah, a lot of dangerous things, but you don't want this to be one of them.
How's the turkey going?
It's it grew actually. I don't know if you noticed last time we had a lot more turkey in here. Kind of expanded, but other than that, it's going pretty good. Just kind of still browning it, still waiting. Just going to get some veggies in here in a minute and get cracking.
Alright, so now we're going to add a little bit of this liquid seasoning. It's kind of like a soy sauce or Worcestershire sauce. And it's going to make our meat taste nice and salty and good. My friend Alan called it liquid gold. So a little bit will do. We actually added a bit when we were off camera, so we don't want to overdo it.
You also notice here we have a lot of liquid here. Now if this was ground beef, that would be fat, but this is actually mostly just water from the turkey. So just going to let that kind of boil off, and we're almost ready for the veggies.
Alright, what we're making here today is a size for about 12 people, but this is actually a bigger portion, and we're going to show you the smaller portion of that on the screen later. What we're going to use is 6 tablespoons of butter, and we're also going to use 6 tablespoons of wheat. So all we pretty much do, get the little tablespoon, get it out, make sure it's nice and level so you get the right amount. Always got to get the right amount. Just stick it in there. Just 6 is all you need. There you go. And as you do, you can kind of just play around with it, but Really, all in all, just stick it in there. That's 3. When I was younger, I used to make a big mess. Not that I cooked, but help mom. I got in trouble. Anyway, 4, actually 5. 6. And there we go.
So what you're going to do with that, Victor, is you're going to bring it over here to the stove. Oh, watch head. And we're going to heat this up over a medium heat, okay?
Yeah.
And that's going to be what we call a roux. It's going to thicken up, and we're going to make a gravy out of this. We have to be careful not to let it burn. So we're going to get a fork over here. We're going to stir it and stir it and stir it until we can no longer stir it. And after a while, we're going to add some Worcestershire sauce. And it's going to give us a nice flavor that we're going to add to the meat. It's going to allow the meat to thicken up, and then we're going to lay that in a casserole, and then we're going to put some potatoes over that and let it crisp up in the broiler.
Ooh,
okay, so if you can
delicious.
just stir that for us.
Yeah.
As you can see, the butter's already melting.
Uh-huh.
The first
So
thing that
it has a very, very thick kind of texture.
yeah. The first thing that happens is that the butter gets coated in this whole wheat flour, and then
Why whole wheat flour?
well, whole wheat flour is not a thicker alternative. Well, it can be thicker sometimes, but it's a healthier alternative to the white flour, bleached flour. The less processes that the flour goes through, the healthier it is for you. Right?
That is correct.
How's the meat going over there?
Wow.
It is just about done. We're almost completely browned now, and the vegetables are looking good. We're just getting ready for the gravy. Put it on the casserole, and we'll be ready to eat in a few minutes.
Great. All right, so we've transferred the meat mixture with the vegetables into a little baking dish like this. And all we're going to do now is we're going to transfer the gravy that Victor has been stirring, and we're going to just distribute that evenly throughout here. Get a nice good coat. And then we're going to go ahead and mix that into the meat and make sure it all gets covered. And what this adds is just a little more flavor because of that broth that we added into the roux and the butter. And we're going to go ahead and coat all the meat and make sure it gets around all the edges so that it's easy for the shepherd's pie to slide out once you have cut it up. Okay, so it looks like we need a little more of that gravy here. I'll go ahead and add a little more here. We'll also add some to our other dish here. And once this has all been mixed in, I want to get all those good drippings. Once this has all been mixed in, we're going to add our nice mashed potato mixture over the top and throw it into the broiler, which means that the top part of the oven is going to be on and it's going to give us a nice golden crust. Golden, hopefully. More likely it's going to be brown and black, but that nice crispiness is going to give us some good flavor. Okay, so earlier we showed you how to mash your potatoes using an old bottle or container like this. Okay, so we're going to put this here. As you can see, it's all nice and even. There are some chunks in there, but it's always a nice surprise. So I'm going to go ahead and use the same old utensil here, and I'm just going to slap some of this potato on here. I want a nice thick coating. Okay, I'm going to slap this potato topping on. And we're going to go ahead and smooth it out so that it's coating the entire top portion of the meat. Now it's not going to be restaurant pretty, but your stomach is not going to know the difference. We're going to go here and add potato. As you can see, there's some empty spots around the edges, so I'm going to go ahead and fill those in like so. Here we go. The more potato, the heartier your meal is going to be, the more full you're going to be after you eat it. Now you could either leave it like this with a nice smooth top, or you could also get a plain fork and put some grooves into it, and it kind of makes it look fancy. I put some grooves in like this. If you want to be kind of silly, you can write something into it, or you could play around with different textures and different designs. This is easy enough for me. Now we've